everyone, how are we doing? If you don't know me, my name is Nadim Naaman. I am an actor, singer and writer, and this is my London 2020 marathon vlog. So, I know this is going to be really blurry, but I wanted to take you with me a little bit on this journey. Why I'm running this marathon, what's it all about, why am I running for NSPCC, and how I really need your help. So stay tuned. I hope it's not too boring. I've been distance running since I was about, so gross, it's just a fly gone in my mouth. Start that again, shall we? So at the start of lockdown, I very quickly realised I needed a project, something to get me up and out the door and feeling good about myself. And I fell back into running. I've been doing distance running on and off since I was about 11. Cross-country teams, athletics. It's sort of always been one of my sports. And I ran my first marathon in 2012, Olympic year. Then again in 2013. Then I had a year off. And ran again in 2015. I don't know why I do this, but every time I run, I go past Domino's, Papa John's, Nando's, KFC, various kebab shops that just smell of chips. And I'm just always hungry, basically. Shout out to Zal as well. Zal in Addleston. Unbelievable curry. Oh, I could really go for a Peshwari naan right now. Now, I've not spoken about the NSPCC yet, which is deliberate, because the NSPCC is the really important bit, and I want to give it my full attention. I don't want to be waffling about it whilst on a run. So I'm going to talk about the NSPCC separately when I get home, properly. But last thing about the general picture here, loads of people keep saying to me, oh amazing, you're doing the run, but surely the marathon's going to get cancelled, right? Because of the pandemic. You know, it's not just about the 26.2 miles on the day, because the fact is, if you've done your training, you're going to get around that no problem at all. The training's the hard bit, to get ready for the marathon, and in doing so probably run about 10 marathons. So again, if you sponsor me, you're not sponsoring me for the 4th of October, you're sponsoring me for the many miles that come between now and then, all of which goes directly to the NSPCC. The last bit I want to say about the coronavirus situation and the cancellation and what have you. If the London Marathon gets cancelled or postponed and doesn't happen on the 4th of October, I am still going to run a marathon on that date. Even if that means doing it alone. I'll put my headphones in and I'll get on with it. Maybe I'll do it through London, something like the course, and maybe I'll just do it locally. I don't know, I'll think about it, but whatever happens, I'm gonna run a marathon on that day. And so every pound I raise is genuinely going to be for Nadim running a marathon for the NSPCC. That's it. So I've just finished my run. Sorry about how wobbly that probably was. I bet it's horrible to watch back. But we'll see. Maybe I'll get the GoPro out next time. Yeah, so that was the first run of the week done. Easy run. I don't mean it was easy. I mean, it's called an easy run. Listen, it's very presumptuous of me to sort of start recommending running to everybody, and you know, I'm sure loads of you run, or loads of you have tried running and not enjoyed it and hate it and what have you, but for me, running has been an absolute godsend over the years. It's helped me through tough times and given me focus, time alone with my thoughts, etc., when I've really needed it. It's just brilliant. It's brilliant in every way. I love it, and I'll happily talk about it for hours, but I'm not a running expert. I'm just an actor who likes running, so I'm gonna shut up now. But tell me about your running. Tell me if you enjoy running, if you are doing the marathon this year. Let's chat, let's talk about it. So yeah, I'm gonna go and get showered and have some food, and then I'm gonna talk to you about the NSPCC. Thanks for listening so far. If you're not bored already, I'm really impressed. Okay, so let's get into it. I won't keep you for long because I know that I've already spoken way too much in this vlog. What do the NSPCC do? Well, there are four main things that they do. The first thing they do is they work to prevent abuse of children. They do this through research, through listening to children, through visiting them in schools and in social situations, and try to educate children and encourage children to come forward when they are in abusive environments, to instill a belief in them that it's okay to talk to people and tell people about abuse, and most importantly, to educate children into understanding that abuse is never, ever, ever the fault of the child. Number two, the NSPCC work extremely hard to help rebuild the lives of children who have suffered abuse in the past. This is mostly through therapeutic services, and I can't even begin to imagine what some children go through. It makes me feel quite sick. But it's something that we have to think about and talk about and remember is going on right now, because right now there are so many fights to fight across the world. There are so many fires to put out. There are so many battles. There are so many worries. Children are more vulnerable than anybody else. Number three, which is an offshoot of number two, is the NSPCC don't only help the children post-abuse, they support families and help the families of victims to recover. Very often, child abuse goes on in secret. It is a very, very dark and horrendous thing that happens without other family members knowing. And that, of course, can be physical or emotional. It's essential that the NSPCC have the ability to help parents and siblings and aunts and uncles and grandparents and anyone else who is put through turmoil of abuse of a child within a family. And number four, the NSPCC front campaigns for change when it comes to abuse of children. They are pushing for new laws and new rules to be put into place constantly all year round when it comes to the protection of children. And, you know, for all the reasons I've already explained, that is an essential service. So that's what the NSPCC does. If you donate, if you sponsor me for this marathon, where does the money go? What do they do with it? On an average day in the UK, the NSPCC will speak to 800 vulnerable or abused children. 800 children will pick up the phone and contact the NSPCC via Childline or directly, but 800 kids pick up the phone to speak to someone about what's going on behind closed doors. I speak from personal experience as well. When people do things like marathons and skydiving and they raise, they do concerts and bake sales and all this sort of stuff, there's always a bit of a worry about appearing to be not as generous as others. Now, if you go to a bake sale, you might buy a couple of cupcakes and spend £3 and nobody bats an eyelid. But then when it's like an online event, like a marathon, and there's a fundraising page, and you see people have put £20, £30, £15, £5, you might think, oh, I can only afford a quid or two, I'm not going to bother. At the end of the day, if 500 people or 1,000 people each gave £1, that's incredible. Like, I can assure you, every single pound makes a difference and is invaluable. I keep using that word invaluable, but it is so important. A £3 donation will help cover the cost of an NSPCC worker travelling to a primary school and giving an assembly or a talk to children about abuse, about what abuse is, about how it can be spotted, about what to do if they encounter it. A £4 donation covers the cost of a trained volunteer picking up the phone via Childline to speak to an abused child. This isn't for me, this is for the NSPCC. And the last thing I want to talk about is the fact that all of that stuff would be huge in a normal global environment. But then you think about the fact that these children have not had any of these outlets available to them for the last 3.5 months. Coronavirus and the lockdown have trapped these vulnerable kids in their abusive environments. There's been no school. No school means no teachers, no other positive role models, no friends. It means no visits from the NSPCC to talk to children about abuse. Lockdown means there have been no therapeutic services available to children who have suffered abuse in the past. Most of all, being in lockdown with abusers might mean that children are far too frightened to pick up the phone and call Childline or the NSPCC, which would normally be the beginning of a journey out of abuse into a more normal life. So this is actually the most important time in our lifetimes to be helping this charity. I know times are tough. I know we are all skint. We are all skint. We are all out of work. We are all taking mortgage holidays. We are all furloughed. We are all stretched as far as we can. But when the weekend arrives, or when your next paycheck does arrive, and you want to make a difference in a way that you might not have thought of in this period, you know, there have been a lot of donations to NHS charities. There's been a lot of focus recently on other causes and other fights, rightly so, because all of these charities are desperate for our help. But here and now, I'm representing NSPCC, and this is my fight and my focus, and I want to do everything I can to help them. So thank you for listening. Thank you for putting up with this interminable waffle from me across this video. But I hope it's built a nice picture about why I'm doing this, what your money could help achieve, and why it's an important cause to be fundraising for.